Hi, my name is Kabanshi Kasanda. I'm currently studying at Asia Pacific International University in Thailand. And today I'd just like to share my story with you. I was born and raised in a very Adventist family. My father is not a pastor, but he's a teacher. However, in his teaching life, he is more of an evangelist and he really goes around in different churches to preach the word of God. He spends most of his Sabbaths preaching than actually with us at our home church. And so that's my father, and that's how he raised us up. He wanted us to be good children, and he wanted us to grow up in a way similar to how he grew up. He grew up in a very strict Adventist home. My grandfather, my grandmother were Adventists, thorough Adventists in everything that they did. By 5 p.m. on a Sabbath afternoon, well, that's a Friday afternoon, when the Sabbath began, everything had to be ready for the Sabbath. The food was prepared, the clothing was prepared, the shoes were polished. And so my father brought in all those customs into our house. And so I was raised up in a very Adventist family. And over time, as I grew older from 7, 8, 9, and 10, I became more involved in the church. I started reciting verses in front and started leading out in song worship and actually preaching at a certain point when I was a bit older in my teen years. However, doing that did not really give me that Christian experience that I always longed for. I studied the Word of God. I read the Bible, but it was like reading a novel. But I did not have that connection with God that Ellen White writes about and what other people used to talk about. Oh, I have this experience with God. He did this for me. He did that for me. But for me, I never had that. I would just say the Word of God. I would quote the Bible, quote Ellen White, but had no relationship with God myself. And so that was just part of my life, and I started living that way, thinking that's what Christianity was. And it grew worse. I only became a Christian on Friday afternoon until Saturday afternoon. Time and time again, that became part of my routine. I'd be an Adventist on the weekend. Come Sunday, I'm back into everything else that I used to do. I enjoyed gaming and watching so many things that were so not right, especially in the movies, things that did not concern Adventism or bring me closer to Christ. And I loved that. I grew this attraction to it. And the more I did that, the further away I drew away from Christ. I was still standing in church on the Sabbath and preach and recite so many things that I'll just quote. And over time, all of that lost value. Then the question I asked myself 2 years ago was, is Christianity all about just knowing the Bible? Does knowing the Bible give me the sense of experience that other Christians have? The ones that the Bible speaks about, the disciples, did they get that only by knowing the Bible? I started thinking about this question, and I came to realize that just knowing the Word of God is not enough in a Christian experience. And in my study, I stumbled across a verse that I actually recited when I was younger, and I'd like to share it with you. It's James 1 verse 27, and it says, "Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world." In this verse, God tells us what pure religion is. It's about keeping ourselves away from all that is evil and wrong, whilst doing acts of service to others. It's not just about me and me knowing the Word of God. Knowing the Word of God is good, and it's a good thing, because our religion is a twofold religion. We've got the Word of God, which is the theory, and then we've got service, which is practical. To be more exact, I'm a Christian. I call myself a Christian. And being a Christian is being Christ-like. I have to live the way Christ lived. And looking at the life of Christ, Christ did more service than preaching. He spoke the Word of God. He studied the Word of God. He knew the Word of God. And he integrated that into his life. And we see now that is a life of service. And that's what I wanted to have. And that's the desire I wanted to have. So 2 years ago, I made a resolution that I was going to apply everything I ever learned. And in applying what I've learned, I've come to grow closer to God. I can share some experiences that I've had with you on mission trips I've been to, and just small things that you do for others that may seem small to myself, but it means a lot for someone else. Someone might not see Christ in what you say, but they might see Christ in how you live. Christianity is about living the Word of God. We have to integrate it into our lives and apply it into our lives. Not just quote it nor say it. It's more of what we do than what we say. Because I can say one thing, and if I do the opposite, it kills everything that I said. God says, let us love one another. Now that means if I see someone that's in need, I ought to help them because I love them. I can love them, I can claim to love them, but I do not help them. And that's not Christianity. So often at times, I found myself professing to be a Christian, but did not show any fruits in the living that I did. I would say, yes, I'm a Christian, I love God and I love you too, but I would not help my friend when they're in need because I was not truly converted and I did not really understand what Christianity was about. So often at times in this world, we've got so many people that do that. And we have this group of people that leave the church because they say Christianity is all talk and no action. And this devalues Christianity. Our religion does not consist of works. Our religion works because works are the religion. Christ went about doing good, not just speaking good to others. But by what he did, people were attracted to him. We want, by what we say, people to be attracted to us. That's not the case. We have to live out the life that we want other people to be attracted to. And that life, we only find it in the Word of God. The Word of God is full of so many truths and so many things we can learn from it. But they're all valueless if we do not live them. God says, thou shalt not steal. And we say, thou shalt not steal. But if we say, thou shalt not steal, and we end up stealing, we devalue and lessen the effect of the Word of God. So we ought to live the Word of God. That's what gives it more power. That's what gives Christianity, or the religion that we live, more emphasis and more power. For myself, that's what I came to know. And this past 2 years, I've been really trying to work on that. And I'm still working on it day after day. I'm getting more involved in things that require me to give out my time and my efforts for other people. And that's service. You actually find more fulfillment in life in helping others than in just gaining things for yourself. You can have all the money in the world, but if you cannot share it with anyone, what's the point? And that's what Christianity is about. Christ lived his life for others, and he invites us to do the same. He says, no greater love is there greater love than this, than a man laying down his life for a friend, giving yourself up for others. And that's what Christianity is all about. And that's what I've come to know. You might be battling with a religion to choose, whether Islam or Christianity itself or Hinduism. I'd say try Christianity, not the Christianity that's portrayed by other people. Study the Word of God for yourself and understand it, and apply what you understand from the Word of God. Don't just say it, but act it. For the best sermon that will ever be preached is a life well lived.